from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Don't just put it all on BLM Brandon. Alderhuman Timmy Knutson, or Knutson.
Knutson.
Is the Knutson
Swedish.
Is the K silent or
no?
Not silent.
Not silent. Knutson.
Knutson?
Knutson.
Don't really care. I think I like Knutson better.
I like Knutson better too.
Reminds me of
What?
No Good News is Good News with Gary Gnu. Anyway, Alderhuman Timmy Knutson.
Knutson. Yes.
He is doing something to bring the city back from the brink.
Oh, what grandiose idea does he have?
Mm-hmm. He tweeted out extensively. Today, I introduce an anti-idling ordinance prohibiting all internal combustion-powered vehicles from idling or running while not in movement for more than 3 minutes. You will be timed.
Are you kidding me? There's such a thing as warming up your car in the wintertime.
I mean,
it takes more than 3 minutes, Dan.
As you know,
How can we live like this?
I don't kid when the topic is the internal combustion engine. This is not a kidding matter. The ordinance, Alderhuman Timmy Knutson goes on to say, is about the environment.
Oh, of course.
Cars are the biggest pollutant and contributor to global warming in Illinois and the city of Chicago.
Oh, where's the research for that?
An anti-idling, or he doesn't need research. He's an alderhuman.
I need the science and the data.
An anti-idling ordinance reduces emissions. This ordinance is also about pedestrian, bike, and traffic safety. This ordinance accomplishes so much, especially in urban areas. Idling causes congestion. They block bike lanes and create blind spots, increasing accidents. An anti-idling ordinance saves lives.
Oh.
He's saving lives. Do you think
We
he's
better
done?
start talking to some Amazon and UPS delivery.
Do you think he's done talking about his anti-idling ordinance?
Sorry, no.
No.
Excuse me, Dan. You have the floor.
Saving lives. There's more.
Okay, I'm listening.
Don't you want to hear all the benefits?
Yes.
The ordinance is also about kids, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what? It's for the children, as Justin and I always say.
One of the main sites of idling vehicles are schools during pickup and drop-off.
Oh, moms, you're there too early.
And those idling vehicles at schools during pickup and drop-off are putting kids in the direct line of harmful emissions. An anti-idling ordinance protects kids' health. In other words, it saves kids' lives, people.
But there's other kids in the car who might need air conditioning or heat while they're waiting for little Junior to come out of the school.
By the way, this alderhuman calls himself Alder, and he said, please call your alders like your elders.
Well, because you don't want alderman. That's gender bias.
Why not alderhuman?
Alder person.
Alderhuman.
Is what a lot of people are using too.
Alder carbon-based life form.
I should see what my alderman is calling himself these days.
So to review,
Matt Malin.
You
Yes.
have 3 minutes to idle. Because after that, you're destroying the planet, you're causing a public safety crisis, and you're harming kids. And alderhuman Timmy Knutson will have none of it. 3 minutes. I'll tell you what, there's the summer, not summer, there's the annual jobs program for BLM Brandon. Have all of these young people walk around with stopwatches and write
And
tickets for people that idle for more than 3 minutes.
10 seconds, sir. 5, 4. Okay, here's a ticket for you. Yeah, it's another source of income for the city of Chicago, you know. Do you want to hear this real quick? There's this racket going on in the city. If you have a cracked sidewalk in front of your house, which we do and we've had forever, and I watch kids on their tricycles fall over, fly off their bikes.
Exactly. It imperils kids' lives.
You want to talk about saving lives?
If you
Fix the
step on that,
sidewalks.
if you step on that crack,
You're
you
gonna
break your
mom's
mama's back.
But listen to this. So I
Exactly.
called the alderman's office,
Alder Human.
or Alder,
Alder.
Malin,
accept
what's his
that.
name, Matt, whatever. Dingbat. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that guy is.
Mhm.
Ooh, he
Mhm.
get hit with the stick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So he, one of his toadies, said, "Well, let Mrs. Jacobson. I want to tell you about this wonderful program we have. If you want your sidewalk fixed right away, you could donate $500 to the rebuild the sidewalk." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "This is your property. I pay taxes. Kids are getting injured." He's like, "Well, this program it'll allow you to get to the top of the line to get your sidewalk fixed, but it's $500." I said, "Are you people actually pay this?" He goes, "Oh yes, a number of concerned citizens that want to help out and give back. You know, because we all got to step up." Dad
And then what you
said
do?
that
Yeah.
if I give $500, then they'll fix my sidewalk. And I said,
Right.
well, I'm not giving you $500 because I give you such and such in property taxes every year, and I have no police protection, and my schools suck.
Mm-hmm.
So
Make that $500 check out to my campaign committee. Then I'll make sure it gets to
Oh.
the sidewalk fund.
they didn't say that though. They didn't
Yeah.
say if you bring a bag of cash and meet me at Lincoln and Damon at the stop sign.
For more on all the wonders that are occurring in the city and the country, please be joined by Jonathan Hoenig, founding member of the Capitalist Big Hedge Fund, Fox News contributor, author of a new textbook of Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. Jonathan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Please refer to me as Alder Hoenig. for the
Alder
duration.
Hoenig.
I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
It's nice. It has a ring to it, doesn't it? All right.
am
So
Alder Hoenig.
I know that we have a bit of a population exodus and an associated business exodus here. Has got to have a little bit of a brain drain. How much do you think that will be turned around by the anti-idling ordinance?
I mean, Dan, you can't underestimate, and Dan and Amy, it's great to be with you both, but you can't underestimate how serious this is. You're right. I mean, as we've been hearing now, people are leaving the so-called blue states. They're heading to the so-called red states, Illinois in particular. But, it's people leave. It's not just the people, of course. It is the businesses. And, BLS had some pretty interesting studies out yesterday, basically trying to chart where are businesses leaving and where are they going. They're leaving 3 states in particular, folks: California, New York, and, wait for it, Illinois. So, this is what's really worrying me long term. I mean, as you said, all the initiatives by government, which has gotten us into this pension mess, gotten us into this economic morass in Illinois, all they're doing is driving the businesses. I mean, business is the lifeblood of the economy. It's the lifeblood of prosperity. If you don't have entrepreneurs willing to take a risk, you don't have the economy. And all of these initiatives are driving them out and driving our own local economy even further into the gutter.
I don't even I know Terry Duffy, at CME. So yeah, saying, if you go to Springfield and you get a transaction tax approved, then we're going to be out of here. Why are you not out of here anyway? I mean, when you could put your servers anywhere in the world, why are you here? I mean, maybe it's just for the convenience of Terry Duffy, but I don't understand why businesses that don't have to operate here remain, because what are the prospects that this is going to get more friendly anytime in the near future?
Well, so many of them, and as you know, and you've charted and talked about for years now, are leaving. Now, the CME, this is my own estimation. I used to be a trader down there. They have particular, I think, allegiance, dedication, perhaps, to the city. But companies
right.
like Citadel, for example, which is a major global trading firm that was in Chicago, they don't have those allegiances. They simply get up and move. And you go down to places like Tampa, Florida.
Well,
Miami,
but
Florida.
wait a second. Ken Griffin, with respect to allegiance, frankly, Ken Griffin did more philanthropically in the city of Chicago and for the city of Chicago than Terry Duffy or anybody at CME or anybody in the city, frankly. I mean, it is like the Ken Griffin Museum of Science and Industry, and it was $30 million to the Art Institute and bike trails and politics and everything else. So agree or disagree with Ken Griffin, and I disagree with him often on things. But
I love
but
them
but I
here.
mean, he was committed to the city, and at some point, when employees aren't safe and you're held out as the guy wearing the black hat, it just becomes nonsensical to be here. But it wasn't a failure of allegiance to the city.
Well, I think you're right, Dan. Look, capital moves to where it's treated favorably, and you can't have a business, as you said, where employees are, having to duck the flying lead when they're heading to work. when there's just no police protection, when the crime is out of control, and taxes are out of control. So, I think, again, my estimation, Ken Griffin kind of probably had it up to where he was, and we chased him away, right? Our own policies chased, and it's not just Ken Griffin. I mean, there's, many of your listeners, they're not Ken Griffin necessarily, but they've got thriving small businesses, maybe 2, 3, 4 employees, and even if they don't leave, they can't prosper. Their businesses are shut down or curtailed because of all these, a little 1% here, little transaction tax here, little idling fees there. I mean, it does everything they can to suffocate the small entrepreneur simply trying to not be on the dole, take care of him or herself and their families.
All right, now, you know the old joke about economists have predicted 12 of the last 5 recessions. We still have the same thing going on here. We've got the inverted yield curve again, and so we're going to see a recession. But we've been saying that for, or analysts have been saying that for the better part of the last 6 months.
Even more of a year, Dan. You're right. Look, it's not the perfect when it comes to timing, and we know in the economy it is all in the timing. But if you want a near perfect early warning indicator, this is it. And it's exactly as you mentioned, this inverted yield curve. Basically, when short-term interest rates are higher than long-term interest rates, this is an almost in fact, it is a perfect indication of the recession. It has been accurately predicted the last 5 recessions. And now that inversion is basically the most historically steep as it's ever been. Now, it doesn't tell us when, but, Dan, you've got a record number of Americans borrowing from their 401ks. Credit card debt is an all-time high. So you're starting to see a lot of indications that basically the foundations of the economy are starting to crack.
Something else I saw as well, which actually surprised me a bit, it takes a lot to surprise me, that charitable contributions were down year over year.
Yeah. I mean, and this is
That's
real
unusual.
It is. I mean, it's only happened 4 times in 40 years. With all the talk about, greedy capitalists just swimming in their pool of gold, screwing the poor. In America's tremendously charitable, always has been, except for 4 occasions, Dan and Amy, 4 times in the last 40 years. It was after 1987, the stock market crash, 2008, 2009, and 2022. This is the year Biden said inflation's ebbing. The economy is roaring back. So you've got now Americans cutting back on their charitable giving. So, if you're concerned about the poor, you should want the economy. You should want exactly those much maligned businesses to prosper. They're the ones that fund the charities that help the poor and help everyone else. They're the ones suffering given the weak economy and still high inflation.
And what's going on with gas prices? I mean, I know it's the summer months and you have 4th of July coming up next week, but I mean, is this price gouging, or is this really supply and demand, or what's going on?
Oh, there is no such thing as price gouging,
Correct.
Especially when I don't know. Dan, work on Amy here.
That's what Biden. No,
know.
I'm repeating what Biden said. Biden said these oil companies are greedy, Jonathan.
Well, it's funny. It's like they weren't greedy when prices went negative, a couple of years ago. I guess they just didn't feel like being greedy then. I mean, This is that old standard. Whenever prices go high, they don't blame the environmentalist movement. They don't blame the taxes, which still account for the biggest percentage of what you actually pay at the pump. They blame the so-called greedy oil companies, which are, the ones risking their life, limb, and money to get the oil out of the ground. Amy, what we're seeing is the continuing impact of inflation. Once again, it's just not a genie that is once it's out of the bag, it can't be stuffed back in the bottle. And even in the 70s, inflation went down pretty dramatically from 73 to 74. Then it was more than doubled just 2 years later. So, Biden's taking a victory lap that inflation's going down. Meanwhile, oil prices and gas prices here on the ground are going up.
Don't you love it? Don't you love this whole line of argumentation you always hear from the left about the greedy this and the greedy that? So let me get this. The oil and gas companies that find the product and bring the product to market and make 3 cents a gallon on gas, they're greedy. And the state of Illinois, which takes 45 cents per gallon of something they had nothing to do with, they're not greedy.
So appropriate, Dan. So spot on. And in fact, even when you go to your, the corner this morning, it's not like, you don't see one gas station. You usually see 2 on opposite corners, each trying to lower the price by a penny to get that. So, capitalism always creates the competition, and as you said, government that comes in and says, no, let me take my cut for protection.
Let me wet my beak.
Like a mafia boss to me.
Yeah, let me wet my beak. Jonathan Hoenig, founding member of the Capitalist Pig Hedge Fund, Fox News contributor, author of a new textbook of Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. Jonathan, thanks as always.
Have a great weekend, folks.
Thanks. You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
What happens when America's debt bubble finally bursts? The dollar's value would be destroyed along with the value of your 401k or IRA. And this would be a total catastrophe for the nation. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and the